Hey guys, it's me, DocTomato. If there's one thing we can all agree on, it's that the movies of 2016 sucked. However, beneath all of that trash, there happened to be a few really good movies that I had a fun time watching. I've actually managed to watch more movies from this year than any other year before. It's just a shame that I picked one of the worst years for movies to do that. But anyway, just like everybody else on the interwebs, I have decided to make my own top 10 list. This is just going to be a list of the top 10 movies from 2016 that I enjoyed the most, and I'm going to rank them in my own way. That just means that you probably will not agree with every choice on this list, but who cares, it's my list. There were also some movies that I wanted to see this year that I never got the chance to. Some of them include La La Land and A Monster Calls, so those probably had a possibility of being on this list, but I haven't seen them, so I'm not sure. Alright, here it goes. Number 10 is Hardcore Henry. Hardcore Henry is a movie from last year that was heavily panned by critics. As far as story, it's pretty flawed, but it is one of the most fun movies I watched from that year. They did not give a shit when making this movie. They just threw in whatever they thought was cool. This is also kind of a bit of an experimental film. It's the first time they want to do an entire action movie in first person. And I think that what they did pays off really well and makes for a really fun experience. This is definitely a good movie for fans of action movies or fans of video games. Number 9 is The Witch, or The Vitch, I don't know. The Witch is a movie that understands horror. It's a really well executed slow burn horror movie. It knows that it needs to build tension and lead up to something terrifying. This is probably actually the scariest movie from this year. This is a movie that makes the audience uncomfortable in a good way. I think if I had any complaint about the movie though, it would be there are some scenes where they kind of go too over the top with trying to make it scary. But then you can go look at a movie like The Shining, which did similar things to that, and that movie is a classic. I don't think that mainstream audiences will enjoy this movie, but anyone that's a big horror fan definitely will. Number 8 is 10 Cloverfield Lane. This was one of the biggest surprises from 2016. This movie's trailer came out of absolutely nowhere and ended up surprising everyone. And the same thing can be said with the movie. This is a movie that used its small, cramped location well, probably saving a ton of money in the process. This definitely feels more like an indie film than a big budget Hollywood movie. However, there is one big problem with it, and that is J.J. Abrams. It's because of J.J. Abrams that the ending of this movie completely sucks. However, putting the ending aside, everything else in this movie is perfection. If it wasn't for that ending, it could have possibly been my favorite movie from this year. Number 7 is Don't Breathe. So you're probably starting to get a sense of the kinds of movies I like from this list. Just like 10 Cloverfield Lane, this movie uses a tight enclosed space and uses it well. It's a really smart concept that is well executed. You can have a good concept in a movie and have the movie be poorly executed, but with this movie it's not the case. I liked all the characters in this. Despite them being burglars, you can still see their motivation and you're still rooting for them. Stephen Lang is also great as the blind man. He is probably the best horror villain from this year, right next to Black Phillip. But this movie surprised me, and I'm definitely looking forward to more from director Fede Alvarez. I hope I said that right. Number 6 is Shin Godzilla. This is the first Japanese Godzilla film in quite a while, and this is a movie that definitely blows away the 2014 movie. God, I hated it. This movie reboots the original Godzilla, but it does it very, very differently. It feels like its own thing while still being a good Godzilla movie. It also shows that you do not need a lead character to make your movie interesting, as long as the story itself is interesting. I'm glad I saw this movie in theaters because it is a great theater movie. Seeing the Japanese Godzilla on the big screen is a fun experience. I don't know what's next for Godzilla, but whatever it is, I can't wait to see it. Number 5 is Sing Street. Sing Street is a movie about a boy that forms a band to impress a girl. Now what this movie does well is it takes such a simple concept and it does wonderful things with it. Usually I'm not a fan of the comedy, drama, romance type. Those are usually the movies I try to avoid, but I ended up really loving this movie. It's actually a movie that ended up really speaking to me, and even if I've never wanted to be in a band, there are still lots of things that I really related to. This movie is also a love letter to 80s music, so if anyone loves 80s music, definitely be sure to check it out. Number 4 is The Nice Guys. This is a movie that does the buddy comedy genre really well. It is actually more of an action slash crime movie than it is a comedy, but the bits of comedy in it are still really good. Almost every single joke in this movie is a hit for me. Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling have really good chemistry too. I love both their characters. The Nice Guys reminds me of old movies like Lethal Weapon, which coincidentally, the same writer for Lethal Weapon directed and wrote this movie. It's just a fun, funny, generally well-made, feel-good movie. Number 3 is Green Room. Green Room is actually my favorite live-action movie from 2016. It is a miserable and brooding experience, and by the time you're done watching it, you'll just want to be dead. Which is exactly what the movie wants you to think. This is a very violent, morbid movie, and the realistic violence just adds to the dread of the situation. This is a movie that causes a wide range of emotions, and you'll be confused on how to feel by the end of it. There's also a message in this movie, surprisingly enough, where the less you care about something, the easier it is to accomplish that. It's a strange message that I'm not exactly sure how to interpret, but I think it's interesting to keep looking back on it and kind of examine what it means. It's actually really sad that Anton Yelchin passed away in 2016 because he is a great actor and he will definitely be missed. But even if he's gone, at least we will have movies like Green Room to remember him by. Number 2 is Zootopia. Now, I may be a bit biased on this one, but that put aside, this is still a movie that I really love. This is a movie with great characters. I think you'll love pretty much everyone in it. This movie ended up really surprising everyone with its message about racism, and it did a good job at it too, and I really didn't expect that from a Disney movie. I actually haven't liked a lot of Disney's past couple movies. I didn't like Frozen, Wreck-It Ralph, or Big Hero 6, so I wasn't sure whether or not I'd enjoy this one, but I ended up loving it. After watching this movie, you can't help but feel good. And my number 1 favorite movie from 2016 was Kubo and the Two Strings. Laika is an animation studio that I really admire. I am someone that loves stop motion, and I love all of the work that goes into their movies. Kubo is an animated movie that makes for a great, enjoyable action adventure. I've heard lots of complaints about the story and people saying it was predictable, which I guess it kind of was, but it never bothered me. I think it's because this is a movie that feels more like a folk tale come to life. It is definitely the best Laika movie since Coraline. I might have even liked it more than Coraline, but I'll have to watch Coraline again so I can compare the two. It really is a shame that this movie made barely any money back, because this is a movie that I can highly recommend to both animation and live action fans alike. And it looks like I've overstayed my welcome. Here's to hoping that 2017 is better than 2016. I hope I get a chance to see more of the movies from this year. That's all for now. Bye.